basically we are trying to solve a problem that the conventional ways of choosing the career have lots of problem. That what are the conventional ways? Generally, a child chooses the career under the influence of the guidance of the parents, peers, society, family, teachers. But the question is, are these people aware of all the career options exist? Do they understand the importance of aptitude, personality, and interest of the child while choosing a career? Do they even know the path to reach at the epitome of any particular career? So what happens is, because of these ways the career being chosen, then what happens is that it leads to dropouts. It can lead to unemployable degree holders. It can also lead to restlessness, which we keep on knowing the midlife crisis, that what I'm doing, I'm not happy with the work, or we keep on switching our careers. So, and there are facts for it. It is just not the imaginations. This is the Hindu's news, which says in last 2 years around 2,500 students dropped out after taking admission into IITs. 94% of engineering graduates in India are not fit for job. We are generating unemployable degree holders. In India, एक विद्यार्थी 1.5 घंटे में सुसाइड करता है. Per 1.5 hours, one student suicide. Such a critical situation. So I'm not saying that only the wrong choice of career is responsible for all this, but yes, there is a lot of the major reason behind all this kind of news is the choice of the wrong career. Now the question is, what is the solution? As I said, that the people are not aware of all the career options. So there should be a digital career library where the parents, the students can go and explore, and that digital library must be interesting. So our digital libraries are the career libraries are in audio visual format. After exploring the career, next question arises is how to choose the best fit out of those. We have the psychometric assessment, and our psychometric assessment are not the traditional psychometric assessment. We are we have been developing these tests in the video-based test and a gamified version of the psychometric assessment. Next question is the report. Our report is also a audio-visual based report, and it's a multilingual report, so that the parents can understand. That report will be in their own language. For example, "Tuada munda extrovert hai, extrovert munde ye kar desi." So we have to, because parents plays a major role while deciding the career. So explore the career. After exploring, find the best fit, and then move on the path. So that's all. And then we have been working with the IIT Delhi R&D department for as far as the psychology part is concerned. And in addition to, I'll just directly take you through the kind of portal we have. Okay, this is in a Malayalam language. So it's a multilingual, I said. So we can easily convert into English. So, or we can go to English. So these are the career library. All the, information of all the careers are available over here. And information is available in the audio visual format also, as well in the text format. So this is the all information about the career. What are the future job prospects of that career? What are the past job trends? What are the salaries? And what are the colleges? And what are the admission criteria? Every information about a career is available. That information is also available in a audio visual format. After exploring the career, next question is find the best fit. For that, there is a very small psychometric assessment, and one can go and take the test easily. One has to do the stream, and then for this is maybe a stream selector test. For example, this is the report of the child. This is automated, like no hand holding is required for such for our portal.
Numerical aptitude is the ability to understand numerical values.
I am E-Man, your career explorer.
Yeah, this is our career, E-Man, who help the student to explore the career. We are making the things interesting. So after find the best fit, then what are the colleges? Next question is the college, and there are lots of colleges. For example, for the law, these many colleges are there, and a child can shortlist these colleges, and they can, we can send them the automatic reminder for the opening and closing date of these. Then exams. What are the all exams exist? And for exams also, say for any medical exam, one can shortlist any exam he wants to give, and he can know the details of the exam. For example, this is the exam. This is the careers which can be taken through this exam. This is the form opening date, 10th of March 2021. Cutoff date to be announced. What are the courses offered through these exams? And then there are a lot of competitive events which keep on happening. What are the sports events are happening? They can apply for those sports events, or they can come to know all the details of those sports events, that what are the age criteria, what is the opening date and closing date, everything is there. Then and similarly, lots of other things are there. One can, there are lots of scholarships which childs are not aware of. The whole data is here for the scholarships. They can apply, and there as for NEP, the internship will be required. There are a hell lot of internships which are offered in India by UNESCO is offering, United Nations is offering, Google is offering, Paytm is offering, which are these are the scholarship available for up to class 12 students. So this is the platform, this is the education management on the go. So, and this is the child's own plan. Out of after shortlisting, after exploring the career or exam or colleges, they can shortlist that I have shortlisted this career maybe. Say these are the only career that this particular child has shortlisted. Maybe he would have shortlisted this entrance exam. So from the back end, we'll keep on sending them the reminders for the form opening and closing date, all those things. And then similarly, in the wish list, there is a college wish list of the child. And in addition to that, we have now how the school, this is the school dashboard. That was a student dashboard. And now I'm showing the school dashboard. But the school, as Rajul was just a few minutes back, he was saying that a pool of students is required, or there is a pool of parents, those who can come to school and tell why a school cannot keep their own alumni database. This is the alumni database of the student. This is Mr. Sandeep Singh. And he was an art student. He passed out from Dayal Singh College, BA Economics, Delhi University. He's an IS officer in Punjab Cadre. Dr. Varna is a radiologist, and Isha is a child psychologist. So there are Sunil is outstanding AVP. So this is the database which can school. These platforms allow you to keep all this data with you, and a school can always can store all the champions, sports wise, academic wise, NTSC and everything. Similarly, the school will have all the information available for for scholarships and internships. So if they want to ask the student to apply for that scholarship, go for that internship, school will have all the information available. These are the kind of notifications which school can have. There's a sports notification, NTSC, NSO, dance, music, arts, and all these events. So this is a one platform which really helps school to deal with. And this is the NEP is talking about the capture the aptitude of the students. So this is we have our own aptitude test, which a school can a principal can come to know the overall numerical aptitude of the whole school, and then what are the numerical aptitude class wise, then section wise. All this information is this is a digital platform where a school can save every information about and there are n number of other things. So we have been developing this platform actually we have been working on this for last 2.5 years, and then we realized when NEP came that okay, this is something which we are already working, and it has become the requirement actually. As Rajul was saying, some schools are already doing lots of things which are required by NEP. So it is like we are also lucky that we have been already developing this platform, and it is going to become a child can also the holistic profile of child can be captured over here. What activities and everything is being done by the child. So for that is the platform, and that's all I wanted to explain. That thank you, Rajul. Thanks for giving me time.
Thank you, Sunilji, for explaining how we can use technology to effectively identify our right careers for us. Thank you. We'll come back to you with questions. Now, I would request our last key speaker for this session, Mr. Vinayak Sharma. Vinayak ji, if I may request you for your ideas and thoughts. Vinayak, over to you.
Thank you, Rajulji, and sorry for joining this session late. I also had certain technical difficulties. That technical difficulty being my marriage anniversary today, so I was just rushing back somehow from an event. So apologize for that. So I joined the session midway, and I heard a couple of points which were very valid. Like Gunjan ma'am said that compliance is already a relic, and students are being taught as the way that they need to do compliance. This is a very strong statement, ma'am, and I really appreciate the statement. And apart from that, you also mentioned that students were being taught on a one size fits all. methodology. It is totally true, ma'am. Like a child might be good in something else, which they might not even notice, and in the process of just forcing it down on them, we just might lose that creative side of a child. So music being like my core area of expertise, I would just like to stick the discussion to music from my side. And like in NEP 2020, music has been made a very strong relevance. There have been mentioned of the word music about 20 times in the entire NEP. So like for many schools, music has never been a priority, and the thought process that are currently missing in the school masses are that there has been a general lack of curriculum, lack of awareness of different music genres, how a career oriented music education can improve a child's future, availability of instruments and dedicated infrastructure in schools, and a lack of school level performance opportunities as well that are given to children. Now, a 5-year nationwide study was conducted by Mysore University scholar Dr. DVK Vasudevan. I would request everybody to just go online and just read it. And the purpose of that study was to analyze music education in schools across India. Now, the ratings from the central schools and the state level boards were compared to those of the schools in the Western countries, with a special focus on USA. The study found out that while the government of India, the HR ministry, and NCERT profess the value of music education, there has been a total failure to incorporate these ideas in the Indian schools. Uh, Now, cognitive scientists, educationalists, and learning experts have produced innumerable studies that establish the value of music education for children, but owing to the pressures of modern living, not every child has an access to some basic level of music learning. Now, while this integration is mandated in many boards, including CBSE, ICSE, but effective implementation has been beyond the reach of even schools that have the best of intentions. Now, um in the previous policy, music was treated as a non-scholastic and extracurricular activity, which was not at par with the scholastic subject. So I'm very glad that that demarcation has been tried to be removed in this current policy. So students who are even committed to pursuing subjects such as music and arts would find it really difficult to juggle academics with music in the current environment. So like ma'am, I would again come back to that point, like compliance is a relic. Like I was seeing a interview of Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, who was asked famously, like, being a visionary, what would you want the children of the future to learn so that they stand out? So he replied that we should teach our children performing arts such as painting, encouraging them with writing skills so that they can create their own stories. We should treat them music. We should teach them dance, which cannot be replicated and automated by robots, because most of the things are automated even today. And basic tasks such as calculations, accounting, decision making, there are smart systems that have come into place that have reduced the need of an employment. And like Sunil Dangya sir also made a very valid point, like uh, he took some reference of a data in that we are generating unemployable degree holders. Now, what's the use of having a very prestigious degree if it does not generate employment? Like, I would like to mention one of our students who was studying in St. George College, Missouri, in Dehradun, and his name was Nirvana, and he just went to Australia after completing his class 12, and he has opened his own music academy there, and he's doing wonderfully well. He's one of the fastest guitar players from India. You can just search his name in YouTube. He has got a video, and he's doing really well. Like, he is continuing with his education, but he followed his passion, he followed his heart, and he went and did something with it, which would have not been possible if his parents or the school would have just pushed him into getting good marks in chemistry. So like, these are the things which we are seeing on a daily basis. So this is where we Torrens stepped into India in 2017 and have been successfully laying structure to the music education in India for around 80 plus associated schools and 200 plus associated schools in the US since 2010. We provide all the necessary infrastructure at zero cost to the schools, a modernized curriculum for music education for both instrumental learning as well as non-instrumental learning. Uh, we provide the teachers as well who can adapt to the new methodologies of teaching, ensuring the day-to-day maintenance of the equipment is done at zero hassle to schools. We provide a performance level platform for the students. Like, it is the biggest band contest that happens in India for school students. It is attended by a live audience of 7,000 people last year in Pune. I don't know after COVID how we are going to manage 7,000 people, but yes, I'm sure things are going to normalize soon. But yes, we give that platform as well. So I would just like to show you a few of the pics so that you can just relate to the concept a bit better. So like these were the empty rooms given to us by a school in Pune, and this is what we did to it. We feel each child needs to experience the instrument and learn it properly with both hand playing. This is the keyboard room. These interactive
Vinayak,
spaces
it's
are
not
created.
visible. Vinayak, it's not visible.
Oh, sorry, ma'am. Just let me. Uh, is it visible now, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So basically, like these were the empty rooms given to us by a school, and this is what we did to it. Like this is at our cost. There is no setup cost involved for the schools. The painting, wall artwork, and carpeting, everything is done by us. We bring in these instruments. These instruments stay at the school the entire time. For the keyboard room, we provide with the keyboard instructor. For the guitar room, we provide with the guitar instructor. Our philosophy is that each child needs to have an instrument in their hand, and when they come for a music period, they get bifurcated into their specific skill sets, and they learn that instrument, and they go back to their own class. So this is the drum room. So this is how we go about our teaching methodology. If you can see, there is a TV in the room. I'll just give you a small gist how it happens. Like suppose it's a right hand strumming pattern which needs to be taught. There is a 2-minute video that has been prepared by our Grammy Award nominee instructors from the US. They tell to every child what is expected by them to do in the class, and then the live teacher takes over and he ensures that each and every child does that within that music period. So we have a very structured curriculum, a defined curriculum. After that, we take an examination and award certification accordingly. uh, Ehsan Nurani of Shankar Ehsan Loy is one of our directors and mentors. So he takes active involvement in the school curriculum as well as mentoring the school children as well. So with that, I would like to conclude my talk and my presentation. And over to you, Rajulji.
Thank you, Vinayak, for sharing. How music can increase our efficiency and how torrents can help to create that music lab among all the schools. Thank you, Vinayak. I'll come back to you with questions. Now, with this, we come to the last part of the session, the question part. We already have received many questions on national education policy. So I'll be presenting these questions to all our key speakers. But before I start presenting these questions, I'll just take a minute, in explaining, what exactly we have been doing at Schoolology Solutions. So please allow me to share my screen for a minute, and I'll immediately after that I'll share the questions. So some of you are already aware with Schoolology Solutions. We are India's largest one-stop solution platform for educational institutions. We are present in 42 cities, working with somewhere around 4,500 institutions. We help educational institutions in 3 ways. We help them in buying the right thing from right people at right price. We also help them in selling their old items like their old buses, generators, their furniture to many other institutions who may need that. We also help institutions in raising money, that maybe in terms of loans or fee financing or some other ways. Why any school would need a platform like Schoolology Solutions? You already have your old suppliers. You believe that your team is expert. You believe that you are getting good discount. Why you need a platform like Schoolology Solutions? To find a right partner, find a right supplier for your school, your organization. Two main reasons. One, India has more than 10,000 educational suppliers in different categories. In fact, there are 44 categories where we outsource different things to people. So in those 44 categories, India has more than 10,000 companies, and they are doing, they have wonderful product and services. But it is practically very, very difficult and almost impossible to, for a school leader, like Manvi ma'am, Gunjan ma'am, Sunita ma'am, and Tessie ma'am, to meet all those people, to interact with those with all those, to understand their products in detail. Sometimes, our team also do not have the capacity and capability for all the categories to understand the differentiation between different products. So because of that, we don't get a chance to meet every company, or we don't give a chance to every company to demonstrate. Here we come into picture. We understand your school, your taste, your requirement, your budgetary limitation, and accordingly, we also have category experts who interact with different companies category wise on daily basis. We also assess their credibility by by talking to their previous clients. We understand them. We also negotiate with them on your behalf, and then we connect you with the right companies. These are different areas where we are helping educational institutions: smart classroom, procurement, uniform, insurance, diesel, solar plant, language lab, security solutions, furniture, recruitment, music classrooms, healthcare, robotics, STEM STEAM labs, career counseling, stationery, digital marketing, IT solutions, educational tour, generators, learning tools, and finance. And we take the guarantee that we'll save at least 5 to 7% of your annual expenditure. So that's kind of a 5% additional revenue generation. Just one example, we save 2 crore 40 lakh rupees for different institutions in one category only, that's bus insurance. We are perhaps India's largest school bus insurance partner. We did 3,000 bus insurance last year, 8 megawatt plus solar installation. We did 400 plus smart classroom, 2,000 plus cameras, 350 plus training programs, 56 old buses, uniform in 42 schools. By the end of 10,000, by the end of 2021, we aim to reach out to 10,000 institutions. We need your support, your guidance, your blessings. So I'll end my talk here. I would request Manvi ma'am, if I may present the first question. With this, we come to the question part. So Manvi ma'am, if I may present the first question to you.
Yes, sure, sir.
Yeah. Ma'am, this question has come from Mr. Sandeep Dwivedi. Sandeep ji is a TGT Hindi with Sunbeam School, Mughal Sarai, Varanasi. The question says, what are the key difference between this policy and the last policy? If you can highlight two differentiation between this policy and the last policy, Manvi ma'am.
See, the last policy, as we talk of, when it came into being, somehow the flexibility was not at all available. The multidisciplinary approach was not there. Moreover, the emphasis, although being on life skills, was not so very much emphasized as it has been emphasized in NEP. Equal promotion of art, science, and physical education and other extracurricular activities, vocational training was not emphasized. So these are the two, three things that I really feel are good points in this NEP coming in. And of course, the teachers have to upgrade themselves. The redundant workforce is not going to stay, as already has been highlighted by other speakers. So teachers have to upgrade and skill themselves better to adapt with the technology that is coming in and to make themselves well trained with a lot of experiential learning activities that was not actually done in the classrooms. So this is the basic change that has come up in the NEP.
Absolutely. Thank you for explaining that to us. Manvi ma'am, I'll come back to you. Now I would request Tessie ma'am, if I may present this question to you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. This question has come from Mr. Lavkush Gupta. Lavkush is a PGT lecturer with Modern School, Aliganj, Lucknow. The question says, this NEP is offering multiple exit and entry, for students at the college level. And it also encourages students to do 2 courses simultaneously. Is it going to affect them negatively, or it is going to affect them? It is going to give them a benefit. Tessie ma'am, what are your assessments?
What I feel is it's going to affect them very positively. The child needn't stick on to something that he had no interest in. He can change his course, or he can stop a course and go into another one simultaneously, getting rid of that boredom of being forced to continue for 2 years or 3 years without having any genuine interest in the subject. And it also gives an ample scope of exploring new areas. Earlier, when we were students in college, we had only a particular branch we stuck on for 3 years. In our PG also, we were forced to study subjects which were not at all going to be of any use to us in anywhere in our future. But the new policy envisages in such a manner that students have the option to go into the optionals available for them so that they can proceed with a systematic manner and pursue their career instead of being stuck in a place and facing all the drudgery and not progressing in their life, not ending up in any job and not doing anything of their own basic interest. Okay, thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tessie ma'am. I'll come back to you. Now I would request Gunjan ma'am, if I may present this one to you.
Yes, please.
This question has come from Mr. Rajan Sharma ji. Rajan ji is principal with Going Public School, Dehradun. The question says, how do the socio-economic differences can be covered up with the national education policy? If you can highlight 2-3 points from NEP, how this socio-cultural gap would be covered.
Sure. Am I audible?
You are audible, ma'am.
Yeah. See, actually, what has happened till now in the earlier paradigm of the education policy, that there have been gaps in the education which have been found, and that is what the new education policy tries to cover up. That is there, yeah, that is what it tries to cover up. That to bring about more equity, access, quality, and that should be that's what access to all, and access to quality education to all. If you see, even the right to universal education, that the age bracket has been increased. Earlier it was 4 to 16, now it is 3 to 18 compulsory education. So that will also ensure that there is access to quality education and everybody goes to school and gets education. That will help naturally in bridging up the social gap, because if you are not educated, you cannot even think of matching up to the educated lot of the society. So that's one area. Apart from that, also, since now here we talk about multilingualism, giving instructions in your mother tongue, and using local language, local context in your curriculum, giving more emphasis on local vocational skills, giving more emphasis on local references in your textbooks. All this will also, local social relevances also in your curriculum, that will make the content, the curriculum, the the educational the entire content more relatable. Children will be able to relate to it, and once they'll be able to relate to it, they'll be able to grasp it and become better versions of themselves. And generally, of course, with introduction of vocational training also, children will be equipped with skills, and they will help, that will go a long way in ensuring their employability in the future times to come. Again, another paradigm shift that this education policy focuses on, that there is no more distinction now between vocational stream and academic stream, and or co-curricular, everything is a part of your education. With that also, like what Vinayak was just mentioning, that many schools or many parents do not give that much importance to music. However, he was referring to a friend who has made it big in US and is doing wonders there. So then in that case, these little examples, same thing, if a child is there, whether in a small village or in a a metro, then also he has the choice to pursue his passion and carve a niche for himself and excel in whichever field he wants to. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gunjan ma'am, for explaining us, that key differentiation, in that detailed way. I'll come back to you. Thank you. I would request Sunita ji, Sunita ma'am, if I may present this question to you. This has come from Miss Suvitha CS. She's a teacher with the Le Maire, public school, Thrissur. The question says, what would be the role of physical education and sports syllabus in post NEP implementation? So, Sunita ma'am,
yes, I'm ready, sir. Sports activities and physical education is a great role. They are playing the great role in the student life. But the post policy, this physical education is introduced in the 11th and 12th class only. And I think जब तक बच्चा 11th और 12th क्लास तक आता है, तब तक उसकी जो फिजिकल फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी है वो उतनी अच्छी नहीं हो पाती जितनी अच्छी वो एक छोटे बचपन में होती है. एंड हमने देखा है कि चाइना में छोटे बच्चों के साथ ही बहुत फिजिकल एक्टिविटीज कराई जाती है, एंड दे आर वेरी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी, दे हैव वेरी मच फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी बाय देयर बॉडी. सो ये पोस्ट हमारी जो पॉलिसीज थी उनमें यही था कि फिजिकल एजुकेशन बहुत लेट इंट्रोड्यूस हो रहा था, बट आज जो हमारी जो न्यू NEP है ये एम्फसाइज कर रही है बहुत सारी फिजिकल एजुकेशन पर और स्पोर्ट्स एक्टिविटीज पर, जो हेल्थ वाइज भी हमारे स्टूडेंट्स के लिए बहुत ही जरूरी है.
तो आपके हिसाब
Anything
से
else?
सुनीता मैम, आपके हिसाब से
Yes.
फिजिकल एजुकेशन टीचर्स को फिजिक्स एजुकेशन टीचर के बराबर सैलरी मिल पाएगी या आज भी मिलती है?
Yes, sir. If government can take initiative and because बहुत मैं ये देखती हूँ कि जिस एरिया में मैं रहती हूँ और जिस तरह के स्कूल्स मैंने देखे हैं, we have not the physical educators and physical teachers not available in the schools and trained teachers actually.
Right.
Because training centers are not available in the nearest area. These are only on the fingers. The training center
Right.
for the physical teachers only on the fingers in our country. And most of the training centers, they are non-attending. This is not a physical teacher, physical education teacher that he will not attend the college and gain the take the degree. As a physical as a teacher.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, when you asked whether the physical education teacher will get the same salary as the physics teacher in metros, probably the physical education teachers, activity teachers are charging much more than the regular academic teachers. The yoga teacher, the dance teacher, the instrumental music teacher, they are much more expensive as compared to the ordinary academics teachers. So
because because they are very few in numbers.
Yes,
So
they are
are
few in
charging so
numbers.
much. Few in numbers.
And people coming from progressive families have realized the importance of giving such opportunities to their children, that not everywhere they will have the opportunity to learn from people who have such diverse experiences. So that's the reason, probably, their salaries are also.
I have a question here, ma'am, and I'll all of you. Is there a generic system of let's say all schools of metro cities or good schools in metro cities where people actually recognize the value of sports and music and those activities?
Yeah.
When your parents, when your customer is recognizing that value, that value of that particular area, he is demanding good teacher, good talent for those subjects. So then you are compelled to hire good people with professional background, with diverse background, and those people are very rare. ऐसे जो सुनीता जी ने बोला कि वो लोग है ही नहीं, वो लोग बहुत कम है जो एजुकेशन में आते हैं. So when they are very few, so they become very important assets. So absolutely they are going to charge more. But is there a generic rule, for example, when you have one vacancy, or let's talk about the normal schools, who consider those PCM or something like that. So do we have that kind of category like physical education teacher hiring more than physics education or maths teacher?
I think generally, if we go by the pay norms, what CBSE prescribes, or generally, it's not by subject that you pay; it's by the level, like PRTs, TGTs, and PGTs. If you are a PGT, whether you are a physical education PGT or an art or a history or chemistry PGT, the grade remains the same. Be it in all government schools or army schools or any schools, wherever it's the same grade.
Right.
Whether PGT, you need to be a PGT to get the grade. That's it.
Right.
Which subject? All are important.
Right. तेसी मैम केरला में भी ऐसे हो रहा है?
ऐसे भी हो रहा है, यहीं पे भी ऐसे ही है. We just have the same thing. If you are a PGT, you get the basic pay. It needed to be physics teacher or physical education teacher. But my concern is students are not opting for subjects like physical education here. I have a request from Gulf. A student wanted to change the stream, come over to India, and she had taken physical education there, but I could not give it here in my school because we didn't have it as a subject. It was there as a period, but it was not there as an optional subject, as a core subject. So that was
that's a revelation to me, Shreya ma'am, because probably in our side here, physical education is very much in demand as a subject, probably because it's very scoring as well. It's very easy for children to score.
Here we don't have it as a core subject. It is only there as a period on a day. And there are demands, and I do not know next year how I'm going to meet that demand, because we'll have to think of the timetable. We have to think of many other things. Let me see, kuch bhi karenge.
Absolutely. And before I go to Sunil, sir, I would request Mandavi ma'am if we can have your comments on this.
As far as this is concerned, let me, because Sports Authority of India is something that I closely just work with. So what we have seen is government is coming up with courses like MBA and BBA in sports management also. So the these students who don't look forward, like sports left out, they feel so left out that after they have given a long time and they don't make it for Indian cricket team or any other national platform. So these students get a lot of opportunities with these courses also coming in. And somehow I would also like to say something that was asked about from Gunjan ma'am also, that how this disparity that you feel. I think the budget up till now for education was 3% from the government. Now it has increased to 6% of the GDP. But then it is almost impossible for us to meet out this need even in 6%, because somehow we have to increase, even the private as well as public or the government platforms have to come out with a lot of scholarship schemes for the students just to promote the basic cause of education. That must be dealt. And this pandemic sometimes has driven us that we should also work upon, as ma'am is saying, Sunita ma'am. I also know Sunita ma'am very well. But then Sunita ma'am,
yeah, Mandvi ma'am.
has said about the rural thing. So internet penetration is also one thing that needs to be worked upon. This pandemic has taught us that we should be ready for the future, because anytime anything can happen. Now, this draft that Kasturi Ranjan has given has somehow increased, is talking about access, equity, quality, affordability, accountability faced by the current education system. Although earlier we were just talking about how to equalize educational opportunities. But this is altogether a very different perspective, and I think we all should work upon this. I think I'll not get a chance. Sir is not going to give me. But before I sum up, I have to leave. So I'll just take 2 minutes of yours, because I have something very beautiful to share with everybody.
There is a concluding part after this. So I'll come back to you all. And who I am to say that, like, we won't give chance to Manvi ma'am. This is your platform.
It's not like that, but then
we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you. There is a concluding part. After this, we'll come back to you for your concluding remarks.
Sure. I'll wait for the concluding part then, because
right. वरना सुनी विनायक भूल जाएंगे जो question वो याद करके आए. Let me go back to Vinayak. And Vinayak has his marriage anniversary today. So Vinayak, this platform is working as an escape for you, right?
I would not call it as escape. I would call it as a minefield, because once I go out of this room, I don't know what's going to happen. So, yeah.
Right. So, thank you, and for joining on this special day. I would come back to you, but before I go to Sunilji, this has been a very regular question to us. A lot of our key participants today also raised this part, flexibility in terms of choosing subject. So this is a regular question. So many believe this would create confusion. Before those students in terms of choosing their careers later on. What are your assessment?
Definitely, that new education, there has already been enough confusion that it becomes very difficult to choose the stream. That people keep on asking that should I take medical, non-medical, arts, or those. Now, as per NEP, they are allowing you to choose the subjects. So definitely, it is going to increase the confusion. So, but as an educationist, the basic purpose of education is to be successful, to be happy, and to earn your livelihood. That's what it is. Now, to do that, you have to choose a career in which you remain happy and earn your livelihood. So you should choose a career as per your abilities, as per your aptitude and your personality and interest. And how will you come to know again your API, that aptitude, personality, and interest? For that, there is psychometric assessment. And fortunately that we are developing such kind of platforms that those can be used to give answer to such kind of queries, and they can help to choose the subjects or those things. So that's what it is. Only the science is the way actually to solve this.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sunilji, for that. And Vinayak, this would be the last question for the day. You also talked about the importance of music. This NEP has mentioned music more than 20 times. This is calling co-curricular activities, and it has given a huge importance to that. But let's talk about co-curricular activities, or let's talk about music in particular. So do we have that number of trainers in our country? If let's say we have 3.5 lakh private schools, 14 lakh total schools, if let's say 10% of these schools start creating music labs inside their schools, so do we really have that 1.5 lakh music trainers in our country trained?
Rajulji, we are the second most populated country in the world. There is no lack of skill. probably there is a lack of certification which is required by the education system.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think we should look towards the passion of the person. We should judge his playability, like how he plays the instrument, what is his core knowledge regarding music, rather than focusing on him being a B.Ed trained teacher or a Montessori trained teacher before getting him into the school education system. Those trainings and those soft skills can be provided to a person who has a deep rooted passion for music, and and slowly he can be imbibed into the school education system even without him being professionally having an academic qualification. So there is no dearth of talent. We just need to identify the correct people, overlook the certification part a bit, and probably get them into the school system. And as far as the infrastructure goes, like schools generally have the resources, most of the schools, to build up a proper infrastructure, but the problem lies in the day-to-day maintenance of the instruments and the day-to-day maintenance of the equipment. Like there will be very small things that can go wrong, adapters going wrong, there can be guitar strings that will break, and a principal and a school management should not even be bothered by going into those smaller things because they have to worry about other things. So it is like either the teacher should be empowered to do that replacement, they should have the resources in place so that they can just do the replacement without any questions being asked, just to speed up the process and ease the situation for the principals, the school management, and so that the student also has the availability of the instrument. So I don't think it's the intention is there, the resources are there, it's just the structure needs to be there, is what I feel.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vinayak, for sharing this suggestion. And with this, we come to the end of this very special session. But before we end, as I said in the beginning, that we would request all our speakers for their concluding remarks. And, Manvi ma'am, we are not just coming back to you for your concluding remark. We have also established one very interesting practice, that while sharing your concluding remark, I would also request you, if you can share one idea, one priority that you would like to implement if you get a chance to become Minister of Education of a country. So what would be that idea that you would like to implement? Ye to karna hi karna hai. Let's say if you become Minister of Education for one day, so what would be that priority? So I'll be coming back to you randomly. I'll pick people randomly. So I'll request Vinayak. Vinayak, if we can begin with you. The pain is visible on your face. You have to go out. So,
No, that's
Vinayak,
okay. That's okay.
so if I may ask you for your concluding remark, and what would be your priority if you get a chance to become Minister of Education?
Rajulji, if I get a chance to become the Minister of Education, I don't know. We have talked about a lot regarding in educating parents and informing parents and making them a part of all this thing. So I think parents still lack awareness. They come to school only for PTMs, and that period is pretty small to cater to all the parents and understand their views and educate them as well. So I don't know if we hold sessions for parents at school also, it will be nice or not. But since I'm from a music background, I will try to think out of the box and give a solution. I think everybody here is familiar with the jingle Sunday ho ya Monday Rose Khaao Ande. It used to run on Doordarshan on televisions in the 1980s and early 1990s to educate the middle class parents the nutritional benefit of having an egg. And that has changed the scenario of the parents thinking ki nahi, egg should be important in a child's diet, which is a fact. And like if we can come up with some sort of a jingle or some sort of a small ad which is displayed in news channels regarding, apart from these debates and all crap which we hear, apart from that, if we can educate parents about the changes in trend which is happening in the education, and they should just be a bit open minded towards these changes rather than going towards the regressive mindset. And that awareness needs to be brought at a very mass scale. So government should probably take an initiative of rolling out an advertisement or some sort of a visual mass campaign which needs to go from house to house on a daily basis, so that parents at home can get educated about the changes that the education policy and the educators are trying to bring into the system.
Thank you, Vinayak. This is a very important point, but I personally differ here. I don't want more intervention from government here. I believe this is between school and parents, and I'm sure if the more proactive schools, they are getting more parents attendance during those PTMs. It's about what you deliver. What are you delivering during those PTMs? I believe that depends more on that. So thank you, Vinayak, for that. I'll Thank you for joining and sharing your ideas. Now I would
Sure.
request Sunil Dangi ji, Sunil, sir, if we can have your concluding remark, and what would be your priority if you get a chance to become Minister of Education?
Rajul, I'm an entrepreneur, and I try to find out wherever the opportunities come. And opportunities come if something is lacking. So one thing which I came to find out that education, the basic purpose of education is to stay happy throughout the life and earn the livelihood. We are keep on teaching the student, and there's a lack of continuum between what they're studying in class 10th, 11th, 12th, and in the higher education, and then the job they are doing. So, and because of that, the unhappiness arises, because 80% of people, those who what we're doing today, have have not studied that. We did not plan to be like that. If we would have planned that, and that, then we would have been more happier than what we are today. So there's a gap in it, and to fill that gap, we have come up with this startup. There is a huge gap, because there are a lot of school. Of course, we are not replacing the learning over here, and there is a huge importance of learning. But if that learning can bring the happiness as well, then why not? So if I would have been the education minister, so I would have implemented such kind of things, because that is the lacking which is there.
You would have made e-mangoes use compulsory to all these schools.
No. Even the government can come. No. Even the government can come for with such platform. There is no harm in it. So
Right.
it's not like this.
Thank you.
Yes. It's more like an NGO, Rajul. It's more like an NGO.
Right. Wonderful. So we all understand that. Thank you, Sunil sir, for that. And now I would request Manvi ma'am, if you can have your concluding remark. And you have 4 decades of experience. You have worked with many educators, so you truly deserve to become Minister of Education. So what would be your idea if you get a chance to become Minister of Education? Manvi ma'am.
Thank you so much. But before I conclude, I had a beautiful piece of poem, because I feel that signing off from such a platform, so this should be read out so that everybody feels that yes, we
Absolutely.
need to work hard. What
Absolutely.
shapes the best in us dies when the best education dies. The best in us shall always be undermined when they that are responsible for shaping the best in us are always undermined. I stand for different education, a different education where students will not just learn books but life. I stand for a different education where students will not just learn moral and principles, but they shall be living examples of morals and principles. I stand for a different education where students don't just understand what they learn, but practice what they learn with understanding. I stand for a different education where students will not just learn about people of different beliefs, culture, backgrounds, but how to live with people who don't share common perspective with them and know how to show their emotions of bitterness and misunderstanding rightly. I stand for a different education where students will be perfect ambassadors of God on earth and live their daily lives with all due diligence. I stand for a different education where students will learn with inspiration even in their desperations. I stand for a different education where teachers are seen as true epitome of education. I stand for a different education in which the value of the teacher is well understood and the teacher is well valued as a treasure. I stand for a different education where students will not just learn, but they'll reproduce great and noble things with what they learn. I truly believe I stand for an education where students will understand the real meaning of integrity and responsibility with true courage and humility, be that as such. I stand for a different education where education means creativity. I believe education is the spine of every nation. The better the education, the better the nation. The mediocre the education, the mediocre the nation. A good nation is good because of how education has shaped the perspective and understanding of the population. A nation that does not know where it is heading towards must ask the machine that produces the populace who drive the nation. Until we fix our education, we shall always have a wrong education and we shall always see a wrong nation. So with that end remark and this beautiful poem, I would just like to say that everybody talked about uh, uh, from the perspective of students, everybody talked about from the perspective of parents, but what is responsible is we need to train the trainer and give our teachers the respect and the salaries they deserve. They truly deserve their motivation. If I am the education minister, I would need to work upon that how my teachers can be, nurtured more well. The train the trainer program can be there so that we have less number of teachers who are driven into this profession by choice or chance. So let it be a choice that teachers start coming into this profession by choice, not by chance. So I would like to design a program where people and parents, they motivate their children to be teachers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manvi ma'am, first for sharing that beautiful poem. I believe the I in the poem is the NEP, because these are the values which NEP is also promising to offer. So thank you,
Yeah, sure.
Manvi ma'am, for your remarks and for that beautiful poem. And now I would request Sunita ma'am, if we can have your concluding remarks, and what would be your priority if you get a chance to become Minister of Education?
Yes, sir. In the concluding remark, I want to say that if I were a education minister, मैं एक ऐसा सिस्टम डेवलप करती जहां पर स्कूलिंग के बाद जो टीचर बनना चाहता है बाय नॉट फोर्सफुली, नॉट ओनली गेटिंग फॉर द जॉब, मीन्स जो अंदर से जो चाहता है कि वो टीचर बने, उसके लिए एक एलिजिबिलिटी टेस्ट होता है कि ही इज एबल टू बी अ टीचर और नॉट, एंड उसके लिए एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म, एक ऐसा ट्रेनिंग सेंटर देती जिसमें वो सिर्फ अगर वो फिजिक्स का टीचर बनना चाहता है, ही इज एलिजिबल टू टीच द फिजिक्स, वो 3 या 4 साल तक ओनली अपनी जो कॉलेज जो एजुकेशन है वो केवल फिजिक्स के लिए करे और वो फिजिक्स का ही टीचर बने. एंड सेम एज इन हिंदी एंड अदर सब्जेक्ट्स, क्योंकि जो हमारे टीचर्स हैं, हम कभी कभी क्या करते हैं कि यस उसने MBA किया है, BBA किया है, या उसको हमने बिजनेस पढ़ाने के लिए अकाउंट्स में उसमें कॉमर्स सेक्शन में रख दिया, एंड बिकॉज बहुत हमें टीचर मिलते ही नहीं है. सो एक एक्सपर्टाइज, एक ऐसा टीचर जो अपने सब्जेक्ट में मास्टर हो, इवन हिज केमिस्ट्री और फिजिक्स एंड एनी अदर, एंड ऐसे पूरे इंडिया के स्कूल प्राइवेट सेक्टर में दे देती एंड प्राइवेट सेक्टर एंड हैप्पी स्कूल, हैप्पी लर्निंग एंड विजनरी पीपल, और विजनरी जो हमारे एजुकेशनिस्ट हैं, जो ऑनेस्ट एजुकेशनिस्ट हैं, मैं उनको रिकॉग्नाइज करती, और जो हमारे गवर्नमेंट स्कूल हैं मैं उनको हैंडल करने के लिए देती, एंड एक हैप्पी स्कूल एंड हैप्पी लर्निंग I want to make only for the Indian children.
Wonderful. So environment for a happy school that would create happy nation.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sunita. Thank you, Sunita ma'am. And now I would request Tessie ma'am, if we can have your concluding remark, and what would be your priority if you get a chance to become Minister of Education? You are on mute, ma'am. Tessie ma'am.
I would like to add on to what Sunita ma'am and Manvi ma'am just now mentioned. Manvi ma'am just stole the words from my mouth. I think so, because I was just thinking about the teachers in the country. If at all I get a chance to become the education minister, there is a wide gap between the pay that the teacher in the government school gets and the teacher in the private school gets. And the effort that is being taken is always looked down upon, even by the parents and the community at large. So that difference has to be bridged. The teachers must be solidly paid. They should be recognized. They should be shown that they are the pivot in the whole educational system. So once that gap is forsaken, that gap is taken away, obviously, many students, as Sunita ma'am said, will come forward to choose this profession as a vocation rather than by choice, rather than by chance. So I would like to take it as a serious notion that our teachers should be considered. Policies are not there to bridge this gap between the government teachers' pay and the private teachers' pay, because we know in a private school like mine, CBSE school, how much my teacher is being paid, and the teacher in a government school in Kerala gets. So that is a huge difference. Now, I would like to think of something where the bridge is maintained and the gap is lessened so that everybody enjoys and performs in a very good manner in front of the children, so that the children will also feel enlightened by your presence. Okay, so and there is much to be taken away from this wonderful session and a great experiential learning as a principal I too had here, talking to all the visionaries in this field. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Tessie ma'am, and we all agree with you. And thank you, Madhvi ma'am, Gunjan ma'am, Sunita ma'am, Tessie ma'am, Sunil ji, Vinayak ji, for participating and making this session truly special. Thank you all. We'll end the
Thank
session
you.
here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Nice meeting
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaste ji. Thank you. Shukriya.
Namaste.